remember the hotkey for when they mess up the player name, but we're good. I fixed it. In the top left-hand side, our red Terran player is SpeCial.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right, it is Cham.
And he is not from Team Liquid, as it says on our screen. Clam, Cham, easy to click the other one when our admin sets up the lobby, so for Game 2 onwards, it'll get fixed up. Yeah, they said it as Clem, so I loaded into SpeCial Clem. I was like, I learned last week how to push the button to change the names around on the logos file to like just the actual account name, I guess. I don't know how to turn the clan logos off, though, but yeah.
That's fine. It's that's all good. It's all good. You have done more than I could do, I think. That is fair to say. Now, what do you think about this? Is this this going to be just a one racks expand with the low ground? Potential to maybe snipe an overlord? That is kind of neat. SpeCial. He's always been a little bit of a more like adventurous player.
Yeah. No, he's always been an innovative player, really, right? I mean, you talk about, like, nowadays, like, double starport builds and TVT are kind of like a cool all-in, but, like, SpeCial did that first, right? He created a bunch of mech all-ins in those matchups. He's been creative in this matchup as well. TVP, he's, like, the battle cruiser rush into 2 base all-in guy. Like, he's just a really creative player, and this is just going to be one Reaper on the low ground. I was kind of with you. Maybe, like, a couple Marines, you shut down that Overlord, that's a guaranteed kill, and then you feel a bit silly as Cham. You're down an Overlord, and you have to kind of, reset from there. But nope, there's just going to be a Reaper on the low ground, get across the map quick. If Cham doesn't go far enough forward, he might not see, if he turns around too quickly, he's going to be like, oh my god, barracks on the low ground. Obviously, he should be able to go far enough forward and see it's just the one, which he is going to do, and that's great. Just to confirm, nothing too wonky is going down as the factory goes in the wall as well, and maybe that's part of this, Steadfast. Maybe we want to get that factory into play ASAP here.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. It is, of course, a little bit unfortunate having the spawn positions on the top instead of the bottom. It means those add-ons are going to be exposed, but as long as something weird doesn't happen, it should be fine. Oh, Cham actually able to save that drone. SpeCial had an opportunity, I think, to snipe it, but doesn't quite get the snipe. Good save from Cham.
Yeah, no, nice to obviously keep your drones alive. You don't really want to let this Reaper get kills. In theory, it's unnecessary. It shouldn't really happen, so stop it from happening and go golden. As this one Marine is already going to start chipping away at an Overlord, and now there's a couple Overlords over here as we go a-running.
Yeah, I was wondering if SpeCial might have actually lifted the barracks and gone hunting for that Overlord, but no, we have got something entirely different coming out the gate here. It is going to be a proxy starport, and this feels like it's got to be Liberator. Clem did this recently in a match versus Solar. It's very interesting to me. I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan. It's cool, but I don't know if I love it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, you get the lib out quickly, and then that sort of hits you one place, and then the Hellions can maybe go somewhere else. That kind of 1-2 punch can be powerful. Let's see how effectively SpeCial can use it. I think it's obviously not so great when your opponent's playing 2 base because there's less locations you can really strike, right? The only good part of this is he might be fairly aggressive, in which case he might actually punish the lack of ling speed, the fact that this is mostly just going to be a queen defense, so if these Hellions just charge their way in, they could maybe do a lot. If the queens have to pull to deal with the lib, the Hellions run by against, a handful of slow lings. Potential for a lot of damage there, but Cham has to have some sort of a plan, playing this 2-base lair and roach style that we saw kind of crop up, being very popular during kind of the forward barracks kind of era. This became a good way to kind of shut that down and kind of punish it. Obviously, this was just one Reaper in this case, as the Hellions do just now see the timing of that third.
Yeah, behind this, we do have SpeCial adding on a second factory, so it looks like it is going to be potentially battle mech here, utilizing those new Cyclones. Now, you mentioned talking about the double prong. Here comes the Liberator into the natural, the Hellions as well. Lings are not going to be able to get the block. Even though there's a Roach out, it is not well positioned, and the barbecue is on. We got 8 drones already falling. Make it 10, make it... Oh, he doesn't want that one. He wants the whole clump, and he is going to be able to get some good shots. But it will be cleaned up still. 12 drones is a ton of damage. Queen should be able to clean this up. Oh, I'd love to see SpeCial target drones. Nah, he's just going to let them let it do its thing, but that is a lot of damage.
Second Liberator coming out as well, so he's not done. He wants to keep up the pressure a little bit, and if he's going to start sending Cyclones over to the third base, then I think I like that quite a lot. So we'll see how he does. He's actually going to already start a tank. So he saw the Roaches, wants to be a little bit safe apparently. I'm not against that either. Yeah, that was a great little run by, especially because you're pulling drones off the natural initially because of the lib, then you pull them off the main for a long time. The income really does spike up in SpeCial's favor. Now he's got a single worker lead, but that's fantastic in a TVZ as well. So just really feels like SpeCial gets everything he wants from this opening. Hurricane Thrust is on the way. Third CC coming up, but 2 more barracks behind it. So, you know what? Double factory now into extra racks. This Overseer really could do with being stopped because the Scout would be huge for Cham. He might not go deep enough to see the barracks. Oh. Okay.
Okay. Oh, he sees the barracks, but did he? Okay. I didn't.
He checks.
Okay, he does click. I was looking for the click, the blue circle, and I didn't see it. And then I didn't see it again, and then I didn't see it again, and he finally sends the changeling and does get the confirmation. This is so weird.
Yeah. No, it's definitely
this is such a weird build.
Yeah, I guess the second factory just to kind of keep on building the Cyclones and use the Cyclones effectively for a while, but then also make sure you get a tank out so you don't die while transitioning to bio against maybe a larger Roach attack. Definitely interesting, as we see the Liberator just going to come in. I love the angle he came in from. He sent it all the way around just to try and catch his opponent off guard, make sure that any predetermined spores, you know, from the expected direction, from the right-hand side, weren't going to be a factor. Gets 4 drones, nearly a queen. I don't mind it. Liberator, again, just eating away some damage and just going to keep Cham, you know, having to keep on producing drones. The more he does that, the less Roach production he pumps out, the safer SpeCial is to set up into the mid-game.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a nice little play from Cham, by the way. He tried to use the Roaches to tank the Liberator shots, but SpeCial, equally good counterplay, actually manually target-fired those drones, so good job from both players. One of the Roaches did end up eating a single Liberator shot, so at least it saved 1 drone. So there was still some benefit from the move from Cham, but nice little micro and counter micro, as it were. Now, beyond this, I do wonder if it's worth it to go for the Hurricane Thrusters upgrade when you build these 6 Cyclones. This was very clearly a I want to catch my opponent off guard from SpeCial, but it's such a weird play. Can it actually, like what's the play if it doesn't all work out? And it looks like the answer is it is going to be an 8 racks, a double factory, 3 base 8 racks. This is something Ryung has been doing a lot of. It's very, very interesting.
Definitely a little bit
unique.
unique.
It's the 4th command center too.
Okay, yeah, so just a lot of power, but then a backup plan behind it straight away. As you see, Cham, he made sure to contaminate the factory that had a tech lab on it, so he really wanted to shut down tank production as much as possible. It felt like he was going to fully send it on 1-1 Roaches for a little bit, but I wonder if he just saw the setup and was like, you know what, like, it's not quite what I needed to be to justify doing this, so he's still making Roach Ravager, but he has seen a few drones since then, so, like I say, has been mixing it up a little bit in terms of maybe what he wants to do. He is still going to come across the map with these Roaches, 65 drones. Let's see if he can get anything done against what I think is a very good defensive setup already from our Terran.
Yeah, that is a strong wall for sure. Is there enough behind it, though? The army supplies are huge right now, and the Hurricane Thrusters will actually do very well against the Roaches if you can continue to micro those units, and he's already getting some good damage. Nice Widow Mine shot right there. It's a full smash from a multiple angle attack. Does Cham have enough to break through? He is going to grab that 1 tank. The units are getting whittled down very quickly. Siege tanks in the natural are going to be able to keep Cham from continuing to push. Maybe? Maybe not, though. That is a lot of siege tank damage. Oh, it's the high ground tanks that are the MVP of this fight. Yeah. Cham will be held, I should say.
Yeah, Cham is going to get pushed back. Got very scary from SpeCial. SCV's pulled in a little late, right? I mean, when you're up against an attack like this, a lot of the time it's like, right, survive this, and I'm in a great spot. He's throwing Roaches at me. He pulled the SCVs eventually, but if he pulled them a little sooner, it just gives the other couple of tanks a little bit more time to get some shots off. As it stands, I mean, he still pushes Cham back. But Cham, the thing about this is, like I say, he was never really, like, super committed. Okay, he stopped at 65 workers, but he did start up 2-2. Now he's got a couple of infestors on the way. They come in to play a lot faster nowadays without needing to research pathogen glands, right? So these are all things which really benefit Cham. And, you know, when I look at it right now, I'm like, okay, I can see where Cham takes this. Hive and Aspire already starting up. And SpeCial is, you know, rebuilding a tank count. He can't really do much on the map because his tank count was fairly low following this. Starts to finish up Combat Shield, and he's even forgetting +2 armor. So like I say, I think I like a lot of how it's turned out for Cham in the end.
Yeah, it's weird how well that was defended, but how kind of not great it is for SpeCial. He's in a decent spot, don't get me wrong. Oh, that's a lot of Marines here. Where is the Infestor?
Oh!
There it is. The Fungal, the double combo. Crucifiles landing on one of the medevacs and killing almost every single Marine. Oh my goodness, those were money Fungals.
We actually...
Did you just look at the battle report?
I did not, but yeah, I can imagine it was disgusting, to say the least.
28 Marines and a medevac for 1 Roach, 1 Ravager, and an Overlord.
Yeah, that sounds right. Just an absolute dip in the army supply of SpeCial, and obviously Cham just builds up, now maxed, with the Hive and the Spire on the way, so with the extra tech continue to come into play here. As you do see, Roach Ravager still just lurking on the map, just waiting for an opportunity to do even more once again. Absolutely ready to just capitalize on any opportunity given it.
Yeah, and clearly we've got SpeCial very scared about Tunneling Claws Roaches. I assume at some point Cham, while playing this style in their history has done that, but he's not doing it this game. But SpeCial still built quite a few turrets. Now, it's a relatively small detail, but it's interesting to see how the meta between these two players is influencing their games. And I mean, Cham, if he hits with these Broodlords and SpeCial doesn't see it coming, doesn't have, 2, 4, maybe even 6 Thors out. Probably 4 actually is the magic number. This is going to be so scary. He is so tank dependent right now.
Yep. Absolutely, as that Marines come down, Queen gets hit, the Overlord will go down as well, and they're just going to dive away in towards this mineral line for a few more drones. This is great damage from SpeCial, so he is finding something with this drop. Medevac will now go down, but it found value already. He's got another couple drops over on this right-hand side, and Cham is going to start being punished for being already a slow-moving army. That's only going to get worse as it comes into Broodlords and trying to play around those. It looks as though SpeCial wants to commit onto this base. He's going to try for it. He may not have enough damage. The last Marauder trying to be a hero is not going to grab it.
Oh my god, that was like 1 Marauder shot maybe away. One Marauder shot, maybe an extra Marine shot needed. That's all it would have taken, and that would have gone down. Instead, SpeCial loses all the supply. Does he have more stuff moving through the middle of the map to try and snipe this? Yeah, he is on a long sprint, but the body block is gonna be good. That was a little bit optimistic from SpeCial. It's a little optimistic. Not the biggest deal, it's just Marines. But what I'm really worried about right now is this Broodlord push. Cham, I'm surprised he hasn't morphed them yet.
Yeah, it kind of feels like he's at his time where he could really start going. I do think the sooner you go, obviously, the better generally. So, kind of with you. Would kind of like to see him just get it on the move. But now he's going to drop a Lurker Den down, and I almost feel like he's overthinking it. There's a lot of tanks. Right now, Broodlords are your best friend. And when there's more Vikings up, when there's more Thors up, then maybe you build the Lurkers. But right now, Lurkers are not going to do anything for you against that amount of tanks. So yeah, I would like to see Cham actually commit to what he's already set up for. Drop's trying to come around. He denies the right side drop. The drop into the main base is something he's going to start moving toward. As these Marines need to stay out of reach of that Queen for a moment. As we will get the Queen, and let's see what else he decides to go for. The Evo Chimp with +3 Carapace! Denied.
Gets it with like 2 seconds left. Oh, Crucifial. Wow, okay, at least he gets a consolation of taking that out. That's nice. He cleans up the drop, but that was so far along. So frustrating to lose that when it is that far along. But yeah, it feels like Cham has gotten a lot of good things for him for the last little bit of this game. A lot of things that have gone well, even with the, with that +3 Carapace being canceled, you still get the money back. It's obviously annoying, but I'm really curious about the fact that he hasn't really done anything in terms of pushing. It feels like he maybe wants to take this game super late now, especially when you look at the upgrade tab and you see so many upgrades in production.
Yep. No, absolutely. It's there's just everything on the way from Cham, so he will have a choice as to what he wants to play. He's going to have a few Broods. Obviously, he's not comfortable just kind of fully committing. He just loses an Infestor there. No, nearly a second one. Now he gets a Fungal in return. Medevac sitting ducks for some corrosive files right now. We try and move. We will get out the way, but all the bio there goes down. There's been a few times where SpeCial has just lost a lot of bio on the tail end of Fungals.
Yeah, and to the point of, like, Cham, if he does decide to go for a super long game split map scenario, I mean, he's always been a great late game player. His spellcaster control really is fantastic. But additionally, these trades have gone so well for him. Like, he's actually 3,000 resources lost ahead of a Terran. And that just shouldn't be the case, like, ever. Behind this, we do see Nidus Worms coming on down. Yeah, this is potential for some lurkers into the main base, and that can be so scary if those get sieged up.
Yep, absolutely. As we see, there's one Overlord just going around the back because we're about to get into Nidus Town, because it is double Nidus network down, so we can Nidus all over the place. That's how Cham's going to try and pull SpeCial apart a little bit. Wants to still stay somewhat active instead of just being focused on kind of, you know, sitting back and letting the Terran run into him. SpeCial's on top of it. He knows the risk, puts a Viking on that Overlord immediately. Love to see that getting shut down straight away. And yeah, SpeCial just making sure that Cham is not going to find any vulnerabilities on his army.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's just shutting it down before it can become a problem. So good job there. Oh, there's a changeling actually watching this. That is really nice. One of the most underutilized aspects of Zerg. And one of the things that whenever I watch a player like Serral play, I'm always so impressed by is how active he is with those changelings. But we do see SpeCial finally starting to move out here a little bit. Cham, I mean, is he going to be able to deal with this army? I think so, especially if he can land some fungals on that ramp.
Yeah, absolutely possible. We just see the corrosive bars already coming down there.
God.
Vikings hunting at the moment. Can't find too much. Scans everywhere, and we are about to have a pretty big skirmish. Massive EMP hits double infester at the front.
16 Vikings. That is so many Vikings right now. Like, that is actually just a ridiculous number. We are going to see Ghost coming on in for the snipes. Fungal growth on the Vikings and the... Oh my god, the corrosive bile combo is huge. The Broodlords will get a couple of shots before they get cleaned up. Man, oh man, that was a massive wombo combo on those Vikings. It's crazy because it feels like it hit so hard, but there's still like 12 Vikings left over.
Yeah, the
46 Hydras on the Remax.
I was going to say, like, the Vikings took a fair bit of damage. They are the one thing that really feels like they survive. And Cham, just because he's traded so well, and he's been mining well throughout the game, as you expect to Zerg too, he's really in this position where he's actually able to, you know, now rebuild in a big way, rebuild into a fairly scary army. This Nidus will go down. We try and double Nidus in the main base again. I think these Marauders will control that. Meanwhile, a nuke's going to finish off this base, and all of the drones, we just about missed the Vipers that were coming along with this. Man, this game is getting absolutely hectic.
That is a very good way of putting it. Extremely hectic right now. We do see a few Hydras popping out of the main base, and it looks like they are going to get... Oh, well, they do manage to escape out of those liberation zones. Another double Nidus Worm coming on down. Nice positioning from Cham, avoiding the liberation zones and able to clean those up. And this is actually becoming a really big problem. The base to the top side was cleaned up. The landed Viking harass. Not often you see spine crawlers hitting landed Vikings with the drones supporting.
Yeah, this game just went full silly in the last minute or two, but at the end of the day, Cham is going to come out in a great spot. He's remaxed. He's in a position with money in the bank, and SpeCial is absolutely the one trailing. Now, Cham actually is down a lot of workers, but that only extends how much army supply he currently has, so it really is a little bit of go time. If he's not going to rebuild drones, he has to go now. If he doesn't start going like now, he's given up an opportunity, and that's 100% how SpeCial can get back in this game. A lot of Hydras popping out the Nidus. I don't know if it needs to be as fancy as this Steadfast. I feel like he can just sort of push up through the middle.
Yeah, I feel like, especially like an attack on one of the outlying bases, whether he gets the, you know, one of the top bases either at the 12 o'clock location or the 9 o'clock, he definitely cannot let SpeCial continue to just enjoy this massive economic lead that he's got. But I don't know, man. This has gotten really out of hand, and I think you did hit the nail on the head. Cham's got to go.
Yeah. He's either got to go, or he should have rebuilt 20 drones already, or more. You know, like, he had the money. Yeah, he had
I was going to say maybe even more than 20, yeah.
Just get back up to 80, 90, because in these kind of games, you just want to keep on mining. You want to keep on taking bases, mining bases out, and just go non-stop. Yeah, he really did just slow down a little bit. And he still has a 50 army supply lead, but now he is stuck on 54 workers. So the next time they fight, Cham's bank is not going to be that huge. Let's see how he does, as he is still potentially going to swarm in on these units. A couple of lurkers kind of a little bit haphazardly walking in. Parasitic bombs on low HP medevacs. They are guaranteed kills. And at the same time, the topside base goes down as well as Cham finishes that off.
That he does. We do see a bit of triple Liberator harass on the bottom side base, knocking down even more drones. And Cham is rebuilding drones now, but I mean, at the very, well, I know he's going to be able to do abduct. This is fine. It is annoying, of course, and will drag Cham back. And all of a sudden now the army supplies are evened out a lot more. This has gotten very weird, and it feels like Cham, to echo your point from, you know, a minute or two ago, has really missed out on an opportunity.
Yes, no, he's 100% missed out. There's no way, right? Like, the thing is now as well, because SpeCial has rebuilt his army up, that was his disadvantage, and it's now disappeared. So now SpeCial sits in this situation with a fantastic army supply himself. The army advantage is no longer Cham's. You can see these lurkers are just melting. SpeCial's army is just better at this stage, right? It's Hydra Lurker with a lot of Vipers, don't get me wrong, but there's only so much that this army composition can typically do, especially when the Terran is going to be working full of ghosts and all sorts. Yeah, he knocked down a base, but it's not like SpeCial hasn't denied bases himself, and like I say, even when this base is alive, Cham hasn't had the workers to put on them, as now SpeCial hits the right-hand side. So this is at least a base for a base, if not a few units plus a base for a base, and that's the difference. SpeCial is getting so much value. Planning Cloud coming down. We EMP a bunch of these Vipers. We send up some snipes. Everything's all over the place. The base went down already. Honestly, this Terran Bio can probably move in if that Lurker goes down. There's reinforcing Terran units on the top side, which the Hydras are trying to fight at the same time. Absolute utter chaos, but SpeCial is ahead.
He is absolutely ahead. Something also happened a little bit off screen of this fight, where during the main skirmish, obviously SpeCial knew that a lot of Cham's army was on the left side. Cham sent about 10 Hydras through the siege tanks in the middle of the map. They did basically nothing, pretty much died for free. And if we look at the supplies right now, that little maneuver might end up being the tipping point, because Cham was very close to cleaning that whole thing up. If he has 10 more Hydras with that army, if he maneuvers it around, he might be able to, you know, clean up the army. He's just knocked out one of SpeCial's bases. Maybe he's the one in the lead in this game, but instead it is SpeCial who was able to get that little ambush during the main fight. Super messy, wonky game, but it looks like SpeCial is taking complete control of it at this point.
Yep, no, he's just ahead. You know, 20 supply is actually a big deal at this stage. Again, Cham just really suffered. If he had the extra workers all this time, he would have just had the extra army to really keep on fighting, because it's been close enough. He just hasn't had that extra surge or the reinforcing surge that would have won him some of these fights or some of the cleanups. And that's the issue. And again, it's all coming down to the drones. He just sat on 55 for way too long. When he rebuilt 2 or 3 instead of like a full, you know, base worth of drones that he could have really utilized. Now SpeCial pushing forward, and you know, even Lurkers on Scare, he's just stimming him. Marauders are target firing them down. I think that was the last Lurker as well. At the moment, there's one more morphing in, but yeah, this was not enough. And Cham, I really feel like he overcomplicated it, because I come back to the moment where we had the Niduses in the main base. At that moment, you've got SpeCial committing so much to cleaning up the Niduses. You could have just ran up the middle of the map, picked a base, maybe 2, and just killed them off. And instead he unloaded his entire army into the main, which lost him a bunch of supply, meant that SpeCial didn't have to worry about anywhere else, and that really felt like the turning point from there. SpeCial was able to take some great fights, and yeah, Cham just didn't go when that army supply led for him. Now, chasing down these few goes, getting caught, and the abduct just to guarantee they wouldn't have gone in the medevac, and SpeCial does lose a little bit there, but it's still Cham who's trailing heavily on the supply.
Yeah, that was a nice little skirmish for Cham, and it's not over yet. Like, it is definitely a really rough position, especially with SpeCial securing these bases on the top right, particularly that one, what is that, at like 1 o'clock? I don't know, 12:30, something like that. Yeah, that one right there. If that goes up and running, then yeah, it will get out of reach, but a couple of nice skirmishes for Cham. Still, I really have to agree. It feels like maybe Cham got caught a little bit too on autopilot. Now, this is a lot of supply to just run onto creep and just kind of throw away. I don't know about that move. That was a little bit too bold. He's only got 3 ghosts as well, and there are 5 Vipers. This is an army for Cham that, with some really good Viper usage, could trade well.
Yeah. It was kind of a weird one, because like, I kind of liked at least that he targeted down the Lurkers, but that was almost a gift from Cham. If those Lurkers hadn't gone down, that would have been really terrible for SpeCial. And you can see it now, as he loses some SCVs as well, a bit of his army goes down. Suddenly, Cham is taking a step back into this game, 25 minutes deep on Oceanborn, and they're still swimming. either side to try and get to the victory screen. Marines come over to try and drop this, stop this dropper lord. The Lurker will just sit there, and another little annoyance at this stage. SpeCial doesn't have any good way to really clean that. I guess a snipe probably reaches it, though. And so Cham just realizes he's best to just get it back into action straight away. Gets cleaned up, snipe the Overlord. And we do resettle once again. SpeCial still just spamming basic bio units. A missile turret middle of the map. Nelly gets a Viper.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't blame Cham for not expecting that missile turret to be there. That's a really weird location. It will get a fully loaded Viper there. The next one, good abducts here on the tanks and blinding clouds. And once again, Cham he's doing some really great work with these units. SpeCial, always got to be careful about these lurkers. Stimming into them is very scary with almost pure marine. But the concave is pretty good. I don't know about this fight from SpeCial. He didn't need to take it. He is really trying to win the game by pushing into a position that he doesn't need to push into. Like, there's bases on the left side that he could go after instead that are much more valuable.
Yeah, it's difficult, right? Because I think the game's been so weird. At this point, SpeCial's like, man, if I probably thought, he probably did think at some point, he's like, I've turned this around. But now he's like, man, I'm not quite ending it, so maybe I wasn't ahead. Now he's like, man, maybe I'm actually a little bit desperate. So he takes fights like that one, which are the kind of fights that bring Cham back into it. Yeah, it's just wild because these guys don't play these situations a lot. It's rare to get into this kind of a game, like, because who can replicate the economies that happened in this game? And that's where kind of playing on the fly really is a skill to have. You can see these Hydras coming across. Can the Vipers find the abduct? They cannot. At the same time, SpeCial, as everything from Cham goes to the left, he will run up the center once again. He'll find a lurk, he'll find a few lings, and any value he finds like this is great. In theory, he can evacuate most of these units in the medevacs, but again, you've got to be careful of the Vipers. Parasite bombs or even just abducts into Hydras could be expensive. Eventually, we start talking down the Niduses. This is not going to be in range of the abducts unless you cut the corner too sharply. Cuts again, the Vipers do not get in reach. Medevacs keep on retreating away as the Lings will take this chance. No units are up in the skies. We did get one full medevac. We are going to go for the other one. 2 full medevacs drop. And that's probably game because now Cham has so much more.
It's suddenly a 40 army supply advantage during all this. 26 SCVs going down to Lurker harass, and Cham, who was so dead. He was in such a terrible position for so long, has all of a sudden found his way back into this game. The Marines are going to get blinding clouded, held down by the Lings, and that is going to be all she wrote. There's no way. It's got to be over.
And the 34-kill Lurker is going to survive through it as well, man. That Lurker was just hitting a base, I assume a very oversaturated base during that big chase down of the medevac, so that's what went on there. Lings are going to continue across, knocking down missile turrets, and it honestly feels now as though SpeCial has lost it. I mean, Cham was in such a good position in this game. SpeCial drew himself right back into it. He did so much to get himself back in the game to the point he was absolutely winning, and then he just almost forgot how to take good fights again, almost like he didn't realize just how scrappy Cham was, and so he took scrappy fights he never needed to. And he never really rebuilt the ghosts or anything as well, right? So he just kind of built more and more basic units while still fighting into lurkers. Cham found the value to turn this around, and now he pushes in for game number 1.
Yeah, there's going to be nothing SpeCial can do at this point. Cham showing utterly incredible tenacity in that one. That felt like one of the Latin American finals of the ages.
Yeah. That's just game 1, man. They really pushed each other to the limits on that one. And get ourselves ready for game 2 here in just a second. And kick off into some more StarCraft TVZ. We'll resume with Cham up 1-0. And yeah, if that has anything to say about how this series is going to look, then we are absolutely in for a little bit of a treat. And it started off weird as well. Double factory into bio. Like, everything about this just had a little bit of wildness to it.
Yeah, this was just the weirdest game, the weirdest start to the series. Obviously, Oceanborn is, it's a map that's pretty short rush distance. It's a lot of opportunity for plays to be made, but SpeCial played such a weird style. I'm really curious about how the rest of this series is going to go now, because that was already, like you said, a scenario that I'm absolutely certain that neither player has experienced before.
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones where, like, the economies are in such a weird state on both sides, right? So, like, how do you replicate that? How do you practice against it? Well, again, you don't practice those exact scenarios. You got to say, okay, well, when I was in a similar position to this in the past, I try and do this and that, and I think that's what SpeCial kind of did at some point. He was like, I think I've overrun him, and then he got maybe a bit too aggressive that, or he was like, it was either that or like the other side was, I'm a bit desperate and I have to fight here. And either side, either way, they were both kind of missed calls actually, because he could just kind of sit back a little bit, build up a little more, and I especially think the ghost count going down really affected him, because he had a good few fights where, okay, the bio ran in, targeted down some lurkers, but it got to the point where those lurkers were finding way too much value. He didn't have the DPS to out-DPS the glass cannons that are the Hydras, and he just lost fight after fight from there. The Vipers provided huge value as well, of course, and just an absolute banger of a first game. Really can't say that enough as we get ready for Site Delta for game number 2. Cham leading 1-0 in the upper bracket round of 8 of the Americas.
Yeah, that was just a fantastic, fun game number 1. Obviously, we can look at that as outside observers and say, oh, here's a mistake, there's a mistake. But ultimately, it is so difficult to identify what the correct move is under the gun when it is such a weird game. And we'll see if this man can turn it around. In the top left, it is the Red Terran player, Juanito. He is SpeCial.
In the bottom right, Tower Blue Zerg is going to be from the Starlight Twinkle. Cham.
Yeah, that was such a weird game to start things off. Like, kudos to Cham for sticking around in that one after really letting go of the game and kind of losing his grasp on it. I mean, I do want to give huge credit to SpeCial as well, because he was in a rough position and he was able to fight his way back into it. But man, what a just wild game.
Yeah, 100%. It was absolutely just ridiculous. So many fun fights, so many back and forth moments. The 34 kill lurker that just went huge on a mineral line at the end as well. Just absolute madness. And now you've got to reset and go back to the drawing board. Build orders are a factor. Trying to figure out if your opponent's trying to trick you or not. Like, it's a completely different state of game that you've just got to reset back into right now.
Yeah, and it's so tough to do that after such a complicated and long game number 1. I really do think that even more so than the scoreline, Cham just has such a huge edge right now, because it's not just about winning that game, it's about like outlasting. It felt like SpeCial started to make some mistakes that were really like questionable. And obviously, once again, I do want to echo the sentiment of, yes, it was a weird game. Things got really wonky, but you still can't lose the plot as much as he did at the very end. Like, attacking into lurkers like that is almost always going to be a bad move. And he just kind of went for it. And I don't know. We'll see if he can reset. I hope so. Because if we can get, 4 more games like that, then we have a hell of a series.
Here's the Reaper. Gonna catch the drone on the way over. Doesn't try and get it even, so just goes straight into the main base and tries to pick up some scouting information instead, which means that Cham should be able to drop the hatchery down, no issue. There is a second Reaper on the way from SpeCial, so a little bit more aggressive than usual, and as he builds a Hellion as well, it does mean that this is going to be non-reacted. Going to go to 3 Reapers, so SpeCial really trying to lock down some damage just with the very first few units.
Yeah, this is a TVT opener. He's opened up with a TVT opener in TVZ here. I was going to mention it. He went with a double gas. This is very strange, and I feel like Cham really is like the only Terran in the world that will do this. There are maybe Gumiho when he comes in with a super prepared build, but there's not very many players that will do this. And he is actually finding a lot of damage here. Ooh, the Spore Crawler Morph actually blocking another drone from being able to Spore Crawler Morph. And now we've got the Hellion and the Natural as well. This is getting to be a ton of damage.
This is getting a little bit silly as, oh my goodness, the Hellion just needs one more shot and it would have been great. The new drone spawned, so trying to replace the ones that were lost. 6 workers killed in total. We've still got 3 Reapers still alive as well. That's the worst part. We haven't even killed a Reaper here. Oh my goodness, the absolute disaster so far for Cham. 4 Lings down, a grenade. Reaper's not quite regened enough to do this, so they will just fall back, but great start from SpeCial. Great, fantastic damage in the early stages. Awesome.
Oh, he even gets the creep tumor there with the splash damage from the Hellion as well as a Queen. So he cleans up creep, kills the queen that had energy to rebuild. This is looking so good for SpeCial here in game number 2. And he's going into a cloaked banshee and a cyclone. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Cham completely skips spores for a while.
Yeah, the thing is as well, Ling speed is up, but Lings are not what they used to be against Cyclones. They used to punish Cyclones because the Cyclone lock-on would be so wasted. Nowadays, Cyclones just refresh their lock-on instantly. So this new Cyclone is actually way better against Lings than it ever was before. Now, I'm not saying that obviously, you know, 2 Cyclones will fight 16 Lings, but with the support of a couple Reapers and a couple Hellions, actually, they kind of will. And that's the issue. We are going to have so much pressure coming in. I don't think Cham is going to be ready for it. I like that he's making Lings, but he's also not prepping the spores. He's now supply blocked. More Overlords are needed, and this counterattack almost feels like everything is on the line. He needs to get in and do something, and let's see if he will as the barracks are swapping. No, the raise is there. We are good.
Now, those barracks are going to be low on HP. If Cham gets the right surface area, he might be able to break that. No, okay, he's going for Stim instead. Regardless, we are going to see a move into the natural and to get the vision on the Queens. Lings will get cleaned out very quickly. The Queens do survive. Where are the Banshees during all of this? They go back home. I'm not too sure. The Hellions are going to take a lot of damage, but drones having to be pulled into the fight is not what you want. There are going to be a few too many Lings popping out, so that will get cleaned up. But look at the worker count right now. It is the Terran player ahead. 4 crawlers just now started, and if SpeCial even gets just a handful of drones at this point, that is going to be crippling for Cham.
Yeah, a few drones. Obviously, he was slowed down on Stim himself, but otherwise still in a pretty great spot. Every drone he kills right now is such a pain for Cham. It's just going to make it more rebuilding from Cham, less preparing for the first push of the Terran player. And, oh my goodness, the drone's just between bases. There's Queen Nelly going down as well. Banshee will actually chase for that Queen. I mean, it's just an utter mess for Cham, quite frankly.
We do see Lings getting it on the other side of the map, and they are going to be able to find some SCVs. That is actually so necessary. If he doesn't have that, I'm almost willing to say it's like GG. As it is, even with this damage, it is still an even worker count for the moment, as a couple more SCVs do actually fall. No, he just gets one more. Oh, no, he does get that last one. Nice job.
Nice.
As it stands, it is still a 3cc Terran versus a Cham that is, you know, on an equivalent worker count. I don't know. This is once again gotten into such a weird state where it's entirely possible that neither player is particularly familiar with this position.
Yeah, no, this is just, I mean, I think what SpeCial will say from here, though, is that he knows he's done damage, right? So he should know fine well he should be able to push and do very well with the push. And that's where Cham's going to struggle. Right now, he is salvaging whatever drones he can. He's scrambling to get them up. But obviously, as he drones and tries to get back ahead, this is all time in which he's not building an army, and we're getting ever close to that Stim finishing and a real good push. Even just the first 2 medevacs and Marines have potential here.
Yeah, especially with the 1-1. They won't have combat shields because he obviously had to rebuild Stim, but just having the medevacs is going to give so much staying power to this push. Cham is starting up roaches of his own. Banshees, they're going to be able to find a really nice position in the natural. And with only 1 queen here at the moment, that is, not going to get taken down. I wouldn't have minded if SpeCial had dove for that a little bit, but obviously he wants to focus his attention on this Marine drop. And at the very least, he's going to find himself a cancel on the 4th base with the potential to get a hell of a lot more.
Sums up this round, a few roaches and a queen here. We're going to lose that queen, load up, go into the main because roaches are extremely slow right now. So they can't really stop you from unloading, and that means you're going to find even more damage. You can see the confidence of SpeCial because he drops so deep in the main. He doesn't feel the need to like drop on the edge. He just goes as far forward as he can, gets another queen, and now only 2 queens left in the game.
Yeah, and that's a big problem for Cham. Not only does he not have, enough to inject, his creep spread is also down to, I think, 3 active tumors maybe. And that is a problem as well. We're obviously seeing roaches to start off, but a Baneling Nest and Ling Speed were made. Ling Speed a while ago, but still, it does seem like it's going to be a transition into a composition that's a little bit more dependent on creep spread.
Yep, no, absolutely. You're going to need that creep as the Bane Nest comes up. SpeCial just has such control, and he's already rallying down the left-hand side. Each and every one of these pushes already has me worried for Cham. I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, does he have enough to, fight back this much bio?
Yeah.
He's going to obviously try and expand to the right side, but It just feels as though at the moment, like, Roach Ravager might not even cut it straight away, so yeah, definitely feels a little bit scary as Marine's just going to go diving through for a little bit more creep spread right now, at least.
Yeah, and when you're this far on the back foot as Cham is, it's so much to even just spread creep. We are going to see a little bit of a trade coming in from SpeCial, realizing that he is going to be able to just skirmish against this army. Banshee's clearing up even more creep, and now I think we're down to just maybe one active tumor at the moment. SpeCial dropping into the main base will be able to really go to town. You mentioned the slowness of the roaches. Fortunately for Cham, he was already kind of repositioning to deal with this. If those corrosive vials had landed, that would have been great, but anything short of that, and this feels so brutal for Cham.
Great, but unrealistic, I think, is the real terminology.
Yeah, optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, he's morphing Banes on the ramp, and he's actually trapped himself in the main with some of those roaches. Just a little, a little derp, but not too big of a deal. Now, the lack of Bane speed and this 2-2 timing, those are a big deal.
Yep, absolutely. Just, I mean, if you're going to start relying on Banes, but the upgrade isn't ready for them, like, this is going to be bad, right? Like, the push is coming. We've got a couple tanks to support. SpeCial is going to play it safe and go for the hatchery on the right side to begin with. Turns back around on the left-hand side. We are going to knock down a couple of creep tumors, and we begin to advance on through. I mean, these Banelings should never really connect on anything meaningful, plain and simple. Hatchery top right dies. Doesn't even just get cancelled, just dies. Money down the drain. Cham is floating cash as well, but I mean, that's the issue of having lost so many queens early. He'll have been missing injects. He is not getting back on top of that macro, and especially now switching into Ling Bane, it's such a lava-heavy style. Yeah, he's feeling the repercussions of it. Now about to be up against 2-2 upgrades as well. It really feels as though Cham is just continuing to fall apart as SpeCial can kind of just make whichever play he wants on the map.
Yeah, and a great bit of target fire right there from SpeCial on those Banelings, able to make sure that the Marines win the fight and win it very cost efficiently. And yeah, it just feels like Cham, the noose has been tightening for the last, 2-3 minutes at this point. He is staying alive for the moment, but it's alive in quotation marks. And it's like really big quotation marks, like not small ones, like they're bigger than the text at this point.
There's not even the hope of like, oh, if I just clean up this push, maybe I get a breather, because actually SpeCial took a 4th base, right? It's not like this is just some 8 racks where you just have to hang on by a thread and you might be okay. Like, this is SpeCial, macro in it behind it. He's got 4 bases of economy. Like, you need to be doing better than this, plain and simple, as this might be a bit of a breakout. Corrosive Vials coming down. We do push away this position, but it's been expensive. At the same time, we still have... Actually, he's dropping the bomb site cleaned out too. So yeah, no, Cham breaks out at least, which is something, but it still feels like he's got a mountain to climb.
Yeah, it certainly does. And SpeCial, he's going to continue to add to the top of that mountain as he comes in with this drop once again, picking off a couple of drones. Will be forced back eventually, but even as this all happens, like the differential between resources lost is getting higher and higher. It's nominal, but it is a difference. Meanwhile, another cancel on an outlying base, and I think SpeCial might even be able to deny the 5th base as well as denying that 6th. Cham needs to save this, and he will be able to for the moment at the very least. Good job from Cham. Oh, that was a big Baneling connection, and SpeCial did not get the lift.
As I say,
sorry, go on.
No, I was just about to say, like, it felt as though SpeCial was just bleeding ahead in supply, right? Like, he was just getting further and further ahead each and every fight. Until that one, because the Banelings did connect for the few extra Marines here and there. And that really means that all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, don't get me wrong, SpeCial's still ahead, but it felt as though, like, right now he would have been 200 versus 170, and now it's only a 10 supply lead, so... A slight win for Cham, but again, he needs a lot of wins here, not just one slight one. Banelings do get through for a couple of Marines. Flanking from the top side will get on top of the tanks quickly. Ooh. Is that good enough? Corrosive Vials dropping down. The tanks will be dropping. Cham is genuinely making a decent fight of it. Problem is he's going to be left with a few Ravagers on their own. They are very rarely enough, but he is going to have SpeCial turned around.
That is, man, some really nice skirmishing coming out of Cham right here. It feels like SpeCial has... This isn't quite the same as what we saw in game number 1, but he was in such a good position, and he's kind of gotten, I don't want to say sloppy, but for lack of a better term, it feels a little bit like that's what it is. In the last couple of engagements, instead of splitting Marines, he's just kind of grabbing them and running them away while the Marauders tank in the front. And that's good against a Pureling Bane army, but the Roaches and Ravagers in the back are adding on additional DPS. Cham, oh, he's going to try and get another wraparound on this army. And the Marines, they do manage to get away from the Banelings this time. Siege tanks in the back are going to eventually get cleaned up, and Cham once more cleans up the tanks, forces the army back. He is doing such a good job of just not dying.
Yeah, this was definitely more of a not dying fight than the last one, though. The Fungal here would be hitting every medevac, but the corrosive files are misplaced. He put them, I mean, they weren't even really in reach to begin with. It's not like the medevac started to move and then he missed. Like, he just put them too far to the south in the first place. So, missed opportunity. A lot of drones going down currently to Liberator, Harass as well. That last fight was great for Special because Banelings only hit Marauders. He found a way out with the Marines every time, and that takes the value away from Cham that he's kind of looking for. As we are going to see the Lings running up, a couple of Banes still coming through. Hatchery goes down, the Lings are still streaming in. And Special does look as though he's once again back in pretty much, I want to say, full control of this. Maybe a couple of scary Fungals on the horizon still, but generally he is just trading very well. Stay away from some of those Banes. Just denying the top right at the same time. Special is once more all over his opponent.
Yeah, that was, oh man, that was so close to being a comeback once again, but Special, great job shutting the door here. He did take the 5th base on location, and obviously if Cham, you know, if he had Larva and Army to spare for a counterattack, that would have been great, but obviously he did not, and Special now reaping the rewards of that. We are going to see these siege tanks this time. They will stay alive. They will not be able to get taken out or connected upon, and Special will take game number 2. It's a hell of a series already, and we're going basically now to a best of 3.
You know what it is? It's just like, you know, you you have this start from Special. It feels like, okay, surely he's just going to kind of rampage through and it's just going to be over already. But then Cham puts up such a good fight to make sure he just does not die. And that's what, you know, even like 2 or 3 minutes ago, there was a fight where I was like, okay, maybe this is where Cham gets back in. If he had another fight like that straight after, then maybe Special's on the ropes. Of course, Special still has a lot of bases. Special still has mining for days, so that's the issue from kind of Special, Cham's point of view. But there was hope at least, right? So Cham doing a great job of, like I say, keeping his hopes alive, making us kind of believe when really it kind of should have just been Special's game from start to finish, you know?
Yeah, it really felt like after not even the Banshees, but after yeah, really even just the first 5 units set the tone for that game and put Cham really on the back foot. At this point, as Special, that's almost in a weird way a discouraging game, because you were so far ahead and you got yourself into such a great position that it feels like he should have just been able to ice it out so easily. And of course, easily take that with a grain of salt, but with Cham putting up such a strong and sturdy defense, that felt like a mental victory, even though he ended up losing the game.
Well, time for game number 3. It is going to be 1-1 here in this best of 5. In the bottom right-hand corner, our red Terran player is going to be Special.
And his opponent putting up such a stalwart defense. It is Cham. Yeah, that was... I'm just really impressed with Cham's ability to survive at all. For like, I really do have to agree with you. It felt like that was gonna, maybe just end at the first 2 medevacs or with that 2-2 timing. Like, there was a lot of times where it felt like that could have very easily just been over. But great job from Cham to refuse to die. Now, Special, good job. He did manage to macro continuously, and it is worth noting as well that if it wasn't for that counterattack of Lings that killed, like, what was it, 7 SCVs, Cham probably does just die to a very, I don't want to say generic push. Well, no, pretty generic push, to be honest. But still, yeah, huge kudos to Cham for being able to stick around in that game. Now, we've got another double gas opener here.
Yep, Special definitely, I mean, to be fair, he did so much early game last time around. If Cham can't show us that he can kind of deal with this stuff, I don't blame Special for just trying it out again, So, I'm kind of for it, Oh, well, yeah, Cham's not messing around himself, though. Gonna put the road drawing down, so early units from Special will not be that big of a factor. What's important for him is kind of finding out that this is happening. Otherwise, he might be in trouble. Even if he produces a lot of units, if they're not the right kind of units, there's definitely trouble abound.
Yeah, so this is very interesting because we've got Cham going for the Dark 5 Roach Pressure. And that is something that Dark loves to do. He's done it so much. It's kind of been the trademark of his career for a lot of this ZVT. I mean, there's so many things that Dark does well, but that is one of the many things that he has pioneered a little bit. Now, SpeCial did not Worker Scout, so he does have this SCV kind of heading towards the top side. I don't know what he's doing with that, but the Reaper will be going for a... we'll be going for a scout in the main base. There are Lings at the natural. Oh, you do not want to lose this Reaper, but it will go down. That's actually a huge problem because he needs to slow down the Roaches crossing the map. He's already lost the factory production a little bit. SCV will be able to complete it and will start a Cyclone. That is the biggest deal here, but this is a lot of damage already coming down. Probably going to be 3 SCVs as that one is being pursued right now. And yeah, will get chased down. Oh man, this is dangerous, but a Cyclone does deal with Roaches extremely well. No, don't lose the Reaper! Oh my god! Oh.
Yeah, that would have been terrible. You need as much DPS as you need. Cyclone, not as good as it used to be against these kind of builds, but still reasonable as the Reaper does have its depot load to get back into the base. So it can get into the bunker. Of course, this factory is going to finish up the Cyclone. It is going to reach onto those Roaches, and it generally can stay in reach as long as the Roaches are hitting the factory, so that's good news as we micro back here as Cham going to try and re-engage forward. Got a shot on the Cyclone. That's what you're looking for. Cyclones can die quickly if they're not well looked after. Using that Corrosive Vial, and this factory is still taking shots. Here's another Roach showing up. Cyclone taking a few hits. Ravager as well. A dangerous game. Of course, we do have the gas to morph another Ravager as well. Important because it will essentially fully heal one of these Roaches.
Yes, it will indeed. And while there's no cooldown on the lock-on, it is still tricky to get in range of those Roaches without exposing yourself. Oh, the Cyclone! He body blocks himself! No, not like this! But the Marine count is able to add a lot of DPS to the Roaches. Do go down. Second Cyclone, very low on HP. He really wants to kill that Ravager, but it is going to survive for the moment. However, Cham will come out with the Marines, recognizing, okay, you don't have enough HP here. He SpeCial cleans it up. It is a super scrappy start again. Every game of this series has just been bonkers from minute 1.
Yeah, that was intense, but I think losing every unit from Cham is really bad because usually you want to keep a couple of these units alive because then you already have a little bit of defense set up, right? In this case, now you have nothing alive. You got to fully focus on rebuilding anything and everything. We see Ling Speed and Lings coming in, but I mean, we're already on our way to Cloak Banshees. You've got to prep for that as well. Even if a Cloak Banshee has, the spores up against it, it will typically find some damage. It will typically find some opportunities. Cyclones find an Overlord too, although Cham has a lot of them, so maybe that ain't so bad. I just in general think this is looking good for SpeCial. Maybe with the Ling Speed being so quick, these Lings can catch a couple Cyclones, and maybe that would give you a bit of breathing room here as the Zerg.
Yeah, I think at this point he needs at minimum something like that. It is important. Oh, can he get the wraparound? Yeah, he should be able to take these down, maybe. Nice maneuver from SpeCial to get the one Cyclone in the back. And even though this does end up being a cleanup, that was a lot of Lings for it. That was like 12 Lings, I think.
Yeah.
That is a lot of damage. Somehow it was all in the same battle report. That's kind of funny. And is there an opening for this? Of course, we got spores, unlike in the previous game, but there's still not a ton of queens. Therefore, it's not going to be the easiest to deal with this. Oh, can he get this round on the heli? And he will.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, wow, that almost survived.
Almost survived, was unlucky just to pop out on the wrong side. It was rallied inside, just the way the wall is set up made it derp a little bit. Love what the Banshee's doing. It's a drone here, a couple drones there, but it hands up. And obviously now the Banshee just steps away. We are not just a second, but a third Banshee coming, so we're going to continue building Banshee Cyclone at the moment here from SpeCial. Aspire on the way from Cham, and this time SpeCial 2 more factories is going to play mech here on Golden Aura. Difficult map to attack into on a low base count just because it's pretty defendable. On the defender's side, all the points up into the bases are very choked up and everything, so yeah, kind of a different way of playing it. And maybe on this map he feels like he can get to a later game with mech, which maybe is just his goal.
Yeah, entirely possible. The other thing is he might think that he is in a good position because he cleaned up all those Roaches, and maybe he can establish a bunch of map control, utilize some battle mech. We'll see. It looks like Oh wow, that is interesting to go for the 3 Banshees but not get the Hyperflight rotors. It's kind of a weird tipping point where if 3 you can justify not getting it. Once you get that 4th, you really do want to get that speed upgrade. But for now, we are going to see the movement there on the Queen leads to its instant demise, and that is already a pretty nice pickoff.
I can only assume that was the idea from SpeCial, right? That, you know, these 3 Banshees are going to get rid of Queens a little faster, a little sooner. Maybe a little bit of leeway in case he lost 1, then he still has 2 to pick off drones instantly. So this was not bad at all with those. Again, Cyclone Camp building turrets on the way, but so are the Mutalisks. I mean, that's the big thing about these Banshees, right? They come in, they come across, they kind of get a bit more of a scout. He never actually saw the Spire, but clearly he feels like something is up, because a turret in each mineral line, I think he's just recognizing this has got to be Mutas, because what else are is your money going into? Not building any roaches. Now he gets confirmation for sure. Lots of Cyclones on the way. The turret's already being up. I gotta say, I kind of like it a lot for SpeCial. The defense looks as though these Mutas should not do too much, but he's playing mech, and as long as he plays mech, he'll always be a little bit of a doubter at the very least.
Yeah, but those Cyclones do get the jump. We do see the lock on. Well, it's not the one it used to be. He does get 1 Muta thanks to the scan, but obviously the old Cyclones would have killed probably all 3 Mutas, I feel like, with the scan. As it stands, I wonder if SpeCial is just going to try and shove across the map once this Hurricane Thrusters upgrade completes. He does have a ton of Cyclones, and he is really committing hard to this this heavily mobile composition, this very strong attack squad setup. Oh, meanwhile, we do see an attack into the natural. Looks like, was that a Ling run? No, that was just the Mutas. Okay, wow, they do find themselves a couple of SCVs. Ling run by into the 3rd will get some damage done. Cham getting some great work with the counterattack, but can he defend at home?
He's got nothing at home, and that's going to become the question mark here. Does he do enough over here to justify having nothing at home? Honestly, maybe, because I feel like eventually the Zerg is typically more likely to come home and clean this up than the Terran is. And you can already see that obviously the Zerg is much faster, doing a bunch of damage to begin with. That's sad. These Cyclones are going to be pretty problematic. The Mutas I don't think are necessarily going to be a big help if they come home. We're building 11 Roaches, and we're building a couple of Ravagers. Now, SpeCial is down a lot of supply at first. Now he's starting to definitely look a bit better again. And again, as a lot of these Roaches spawn, they are just instantly dying. These ones trying to come down the ramp, but not getting anything done either. That's the issue. That's where Cham is unfortunately starting to fall apart.
Yeah, he is just getting cooked by these Cyclones as everything pops out. Now, if Cham gets the critical mass, he can clean up this army potentially very quickly. He wants to wait for this Roach speed. Couple more Roaches going down, and drones are starting to fall, but here comes the army from the back. Roach speed is going to complete right now. SpeCial is a little bit cornered. I like the auto turrets to try and soak damage. Cham losing 19 drones. Once again, this is such a weird game. SpeCial will end up having all these Cyclones cleaned up eventually. Good job from Cham, but is this too much damage?
In a way, yes. I mean, you're down 13 workers coming out of this. I think one of my big issues is that there's no Mutas left, right? Like, it's just Roaches now. If there was still Mutas to come back across the map and control a little bit, then I think Cham can do okay, re-drone and everything, but with only Roaches, and yeah, okay, they have Roach speed, but I think that's my issue. I really expected them to, necessarily just do a little bit more to have something extra left. Now we don't have that. I think that this Cyclone Force is potentially going to be very good. Let's see how it does against what is still a good amount of Roaches, and they're going to come in from 2 sides. SpeCial can just run one direction. Corrosive Bowels on his own Roaches. These Roaches are not going to cut it at all. The Cyclones will get it done, and SpeCial will retake a lead in this series. Or take a lead in this series.
What a wonky series we've had. It's just so bizarre. Like, every game feels like you could write like a short essay on it, like none of them have been conventional or quote unquote normal, and certainly not standard, but I am here for it.
It's almost as though when we enter Americas, just a weird wave comes over the play, and they're like, oh yeah, it's the Americas time. It's like, we can't do anything normal. That's not a bad thing, because it's extremely entertaining. I think we'll easily say this is the most entertaining series of the day. No doubt, best series of the day for sure. There's just something about the Americas, man. They bring out the worst, but because of that, it's the best in each other, right? And that's the best part. It'd be kind of like, a Clown Fiesta if one player was just like doing it kind of weird, and the other guy was just kind of slapping him down. The reality is, when they both kind of embrace it, like, it makes for extremely entertaining StarCraft 2, and that's obviously exactly what we're seeing so far. SpeCial and Cham both getting the ready up as we dive into Al-Kaini for map 4 of this best of 5, kicking this off into some more StarCraft, this America's region. Second last best of 5 of the day, but it is absolutely popping right now.
Yes, it is, and I am really excited to see what SpeCial brings to the table, because I feel like he might have another cheeky proxy up his sleeve. I've got money on using those back minerals or maybe a gold base, but we will see in a moment as we have spawning down in the bottom left for Starlight Twinkle. It is Cham.
Taking on the Red Terran in the top right-hand side, we have ourselves SpeCial. So
yeah, this is just such an interesting series. Like so much fun, and I'm just really happy that I got a chance to cast this one.
Yeah, you know, it's actually just, it's been spectacular, and we see another low-ground racks here from SpeCial. This map really could make for some chaos, because like you say, the bottom side of the map makes interest in mineral mine outs, the gold base. An interesting one to take on this map, because they're both playing kind of styles which can generally punish the gold base. It's not like a Terran's ever not going to get across there and hit the other side of it. It's not like, you know, Roaches wouldn't be able to do that either, so as the double gas starts up, SpeCial still standing by his openings. Obviously, Cham disrupted that last time around. Can he disrupt it again this time? And if not, as we have a quick pause here, if not, maybe there's something else that could happen, as we will take a moment just to figure this out. Playing on the central server should be pretty okay for both of them. Obviously, they're both located in the same place as far as I'm aware right now, so or close enough to it, so this should just be maybe a quick internet blip, and then continue on from there.
Yeah, fingers crossed it won't persist too long. But I mean, obviously, without talking about this specific game too much, yeah, just such a bizarre series. I'm really curious if either one of them is like either one of them came in with a specific game plan in regards to, I want to make this series weird, or if it was just like, okay, I have a couple of prepared builds, because SpeCial certainly had a really weird build in game number 1. That was about as weird as it gets. He went double factory, quick hurricane thrusters into bio. Cham definitely playing a little bit more standard, but like very sturdy. I don't know. I'm really happy we got to see this one, because after some of the other games where it felt like maybe a little bit more one-sided, this one feels like a scrap.
Yeah. No, this has been a hell of a best of 5, man. It's just been absolutely. I don't like, that's the best part about this region. We said it at the start, but these matchups now are just these matchups now are just so good from the very first round of the playoffs. Very exciting.
Yeah, certainly a pretty cool setup here. We're just waiting on a little decision from the admins, I assume. But for now, I don't know. We've got another match coming up after this. It is going to be Disc versus Trigger. I don't want to talk about that too much, but there is that's going to be a very, I think, much more standard matchup between the two players. As we will have, it looks like, a remake for this one. I wonder if they'll resume from replay, or I don't know, because the builds have been chosen. This gets a little bit funky.
I mean, I don't see why we can't just resume from replay. It should be fine. Like, rehosting the game or resuming from replay should just reset the server a little bit anyways. Sometimes it sounds dumb, but like happens to us all the time in Korea, where like, you know, you go into one game in Korea, it's completely fine. You join the next game, and it's just like, it's lagging, it's like stuttering and everything. Then the next game, it's fine again. It's almost like sometimes like whatever sub-server of the server it gets hosted on is like the issue, you know? So it looks though we are just going to completely though. So, but whatever. I mean, why not the admins? That's not my problem. I'll click on whatever I need to. I'll join the game. We can get this going again and try and get game 4 on the way up again.
Yeah, it's obviously it's going to be the same map. We weren't too developed into the game. That is for sure. But I don't know. This is going to be really interesting. Yeah, like I said, I think I don't want to talk too much about the other matchup, but now that I've got it in my head, I'm just really excited to see what Disc and Trigger can bust out in a little Canadian Civil War there. That's going to be fun.
No, that PvP is also a very promising match to be a great one today. I do think America wins the matches today, you know, when you look at the matches across the board. Kind of happens as just waiting to see what's going on now. SpeCial's asking if we can resume from replay. So we're probably just going to have a little bit more of a wait. So a couple of moments, get this figured out, get this back on track. And yeah, now they're just saying go, go. They don't actually care. Brilliant. We are just ready to go. I'll tell them to go as well. I just, you know, make sure the admin knows we're not waiting for us or whatever. Yeah.
That's a funny scenario unfolding here on Alcyone or Alcyone or Al Capone, whatever you want to do. Why is it that this map pool has like 4 map names that are all super weird? Yeah, I feel like we usually don't have more than like 1. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know, man. I actually really don't. Like, honestly, plea to map makers, can we just start naming things like Pink Rocks again or something? You know, like really simple. Or like, you know, Deadly Cactus, and there's a cactus in the middle of the map. You know, just do us a favor and make it a bit easier. Because this season is actually just a little bit silly with how many different names can be pronounced different ways. So, oh, we're going to pause again. And maybe not get back into this. Cool. All right. Well, we will get this resolved at some point, guys. At some point, we've got to find a good server.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We'll get there. We will get there. I don't know. We're just gonna go take 3.
Yeah. I mean, SpeCial said between the games that he tried to host a game and it gave him like low ping. So I just suggested maybe SpeCial hosts the game. I don't know, man. Like sometimes servers be servers and stuff. So yeah, he's gonna relog. We're gonna try this again in a couple of moments, and at some point we're gonna get back into what has been a pretty wild series so far. So. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Trigger Disc, though, to kind of move on to the PvP that's coming up in a little bit, just so I feel like we kind of know this DVZ is weird and wonderful, and there's a lot of potential, but that PvP, I mean, Disc took out Australia in the group stages. Like, that is a result, you know, and then you play against Trigger, who's, you know, not quite the level of Australia in terms of results, what we've seen. There's potential there for Disc to cause the upset, because Trigger's absolutely more so the household name, right? But, yeah, just fun.
Yeah, I would say that at this point, Trigger is a little bit more flashier. Like, people are like, ooh, you know, he's on Basilisk. He's had that meteoric rise. He's looked really good. Even many of the pro players that have seen him play are like, wow, this kid is fast. Like, he is a really speedy player. And Disc, you know, people who are in the know how good Disc is. They know that he's a very good player. But it's easy sometimes to forget how good a player can be if you don't really know the ins and outs of their play. But I do think Disc is one of those players that could absolutely make a deep run. I don't think he's favored to make it top 2 necessarily and qualify into the main slot. But let's say he does win that series against Trigger. All of a sudden, he's, you know, just 2 series away from doing so, which is a lot. It's a lot, don't get me wrong, but Disc could set himself up for a very big run this season.
I feel like we've been waiting for like a deep Disc run for a long time as well, so yeah, tonight has a lot of importance for him for sure. It's going to be very fun when we get around to that one. We're currently testing different lobbies and so on, so just to keep you updated here on the TVZ, we're working our way back into it. SpeCial does lead this series 2-1 in the best of 5 opening round. Just to show you guys, I guess I can bring up the bracket here for a moment as well. Obviously, we're talking about Disc versus Trigger. The rest of this bracket is set up as Estrella versus Kelazur and Eggs versus Scarlet, so it's really quite an entertaining bracket. I think Eggs is maybe the one name there out of everyone who is like, oh, you're kind of the outlier almost. Like, you're kind of the player that we don't maybe expect to see in playoffs. I mean, you know, go to the Latin American playoffs, and he made it there a couple of times, but he wasn't even like a lock-in in that region, right? So, you know, to see him here, He's maybe like the biggest underdog of all in this region right now. Be fun to see what he does, because getting to start in ZVZ against Scarlet, maybe there's some wildness that can happen there.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is. ZVZ is a matchup that can certainly lead to some funky results. I would agree that Eggs is one of those players that it feels like he could have very easily missed the playoffs, and I wouldn't have been too surprised if, he'd gone 0-3 or 1-3, and that's nothing against him. That's just saying players like Masa, players like Future, players like Nina, they are a little bit more experienced.
Yeah.
And while, Masa's not playing full time, he is still one of those players that he doesn't need to. He can just, at any given time, just go ham. And he'll come back and he'll just put together some amazing performances. And to that point, Masa was one map away from beating Eggs and being the one in the playoffs. He was also one map away from making it through in the position Estrella qualified into. Like, Masa's super legit. Future, obviously, he's now a part of Maturino, has been practicing in Korea, has been doing very well. Nina, obviously, she's extremely experienced. So, yeah, it wouldn't have been surprising to see either of them, any of them, going through ahead of those players.
Yep. No.
Or ahead of Eggs.
No, absolutely. No, everything he says is true. This region, fun, deep, very fun as well. As I'm not sure what's currently going on. SpeCial went in the game, came out of the game, went in a new game. We will eventually get back into some SC2s here. As again, this is our second last series of the day as well. Like we mentioned, Disc Trigger coming up. So far then, Steadfast, what you enjoyed today? Like, what in Europe really stood out to you, if anything?
Let me take a quick little peek and remind myself. The Laser Lambo series was pretty neat. That one was kind of cool. We had a really resilient showing from a Laser. That was fantastic, and he just refused to give up. That defense in game number 3 against the 12 pool was just immaculate, and started him up with a really great setup. Clem versus Christianer, that one was interesting and neat, because I simultaneously thought Christianer was going to do worse, but then also better. Like, his starts were actually very good in the first 2 games, but he just got kind of taken to pieces by the multitasking of Clem, especially in that game number 2. Game number 2. The mind drops were just all up in his business. But what about you? What was your highlight from the day, I guess?
Yeah, I think outside of the current series, gotta say a Laser Lambo, right? I mean, you don't want to be negative, but the rest of the day has kind of been a bit of a warm-up to the playoffs, and I think even you go into tomorrow's matches, and even the Asia matches start to look a little bit closer already. Coffee Firefly, the world champion Oliveira fights Mio Maika, which could be very fun. Over in Europe tomorrow as well, it definitely gets a little closer as well. You've got Hero Marine Showtime. Mana Max packs could be kind of funky. A Bly, who's been, kind of putting in results, going to play against Skillis. Reno Hostum as well. I don't know. I think tomorrow, just on paper, I look at each match, and even though I could see a couple being 3-0, I expect them to be some closer series than today. So I think in that regard should be just kind of fun.
Yeah, and Raynor Harstam actually really has my eye, because yes, you got to take it with a grain of salt. It is just one of the ESL weeklies. And yes, it is a best of 3 as opposed to a best of 5, but it is the new patch. Harstam was able to 2-0 Raynor, and that begs the question, can Harstam, get that huge upset and really mess the bracket up from an early stage? Bly, as you mentioned, has been looking really good, and his big strengths in the Swiss format were ZVP.
Yeah.
All of his wins came against Protoss. Now, yes, we do have to mention that Skillis is probably a cut above, especially in that matchup, especially in PvZ. I think he's a cut above the maybe all of the players that Bly beat. Mana, Spatz, Shadown, but it's not like any of those players are pushovers. And Bly is such a weird player that he could certainly catch the much more standard Skillis off guard.
That's true. It's almost one of those things where Skillis is absolutely going to be looking at all those games Bly won, figuring out what the heck he did, what he's going to do differently. And even if you look at all of those, Bly might just come in with something a bit different, right? Like, it's generally just Bly's style to make things chaotic and weird, and there's meters that pull you apart. Even if, like, if people could prepare against Bly, they would have done so over the past 10 years, you know? Like, Bly would not be making it to the playoffs of Europe if just preparing against Bly was such a simple thing. So, I think one of the things is even if you prepare, there's still something about playing against Bly that you kind of need practice against, and because Bly's not been playing against anyone lately, because he really hasn't been laddering much, like, just not having played against Bly for a while probably kind of puts you at a disadvantage there too, so kind of funny how that works, but yeah, just in general, a dangerous player. I actually think tomorrow's game is going to be very entertaining, and so obviously we continue through the first round of the upper bracket for each region. And then over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, there'll be some of the lower bracket action and so on as well as some more matches just in general to continue through. And then next week, we wrap the whole thing up. Again, next week, 2-week playoffs, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's all going to be going down. So, yeah, 2 weeks of playoffs now instead of... I think, what did we have last season? I think it was 5 or 6 days of playoffs, but it was all in 1 week. Now we have 8 days of playoffs over 2 weeks. This means it's a bit easier to watch it all.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It also gives us casters a little bit more of a break. Obviously, for you, I know that you're doing a lot of work. You're working on the production, so it's you are really having to wear many hats while casting and doing the production. It's a lot of work. So for anyone at home, make sure to give Wardy some extra love. But yeah, it does make for a really neat setup, and I'm personally very happy that we've got the double elimination bracket. That is a huge upgrade, in my opinion, to the whole scenario, the whole setup. It really does eliminate the randomness of, like, oh man, you got max packs in PvP, or oh man, you got a ZVZ and you got eliminated on like some weird builds. Oh man, like you got caught off guard by some really weird stuff. It gives a little bit more breathing room to some of the players, and I prefer that quite a bit, because lower bracket runs are some of the most exciting things to watch in, honestly, all of esports.
Yep. No, lower bracket runs are exciting. No one wants to see single elimination, right? Double elimination is it's just better, right? Like, you know, it's more fun. Generally, it's like maybe if we just went into like top 8 and so, but even then, like, I feel like this is like one of the few events we have in the year of StarCraft, right? Let's make the most of it. Double elimination, give people a chance to fight out of a bad draw or like a bad opponent, or even just a bad day, right? Like beforehand, you know, we had a couple matches last season. It was like 20 minutes. You really just played the worst StarCraft of your last month, and boom, you're out of the tournament, right? Like, it was brutal. So yeah, I think something like this, having double elimination available, is just great. A little update, guys. SpeCial has tried all of the things. He still has ping issues. Our admin is talking to the head admin, which means that we should have a decision soon. Generally, there's like a time on how long they have to fix these things. I don't know if that's going to be like a case of maybe they would say, right, let's try play disc trigger and we'll let you guys try and sort it out or something, or potentially just say, sorry, you know, your time to sort this out is up. You know, this is not an issue that anyone else is seeing. You just have to play on. Not sure what the call on that is going to be, but that's what we're at there. Admins are discussing. We'll obviously update you guys as soon as we know anything else that's going on. I think we've talked the butt out for this Steadfast, so I'm just going to throw us to a break, you know. I feel like we've really said everything we can about all the regions, about the rest of today and tomorrow, so we'll just throw it to a break, guys. We'll be back ASAP with a little bit more StarCraft 2. We'll be back as soon as possible.
Wear your passion. Share your passion. Wherever, whenever. Gaming is a lifestyle. Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
ESL StarCraft 2 Masters is brought to you in part by Monster Energy and the United States Air Force.
Welcome back, guys, as we are, so just GLDR, obviously. I put a timer on. The timer ran out. We still had no news apart from that they were still trying to fix it, so I put a longer timer on because it seemed as though this was not going to be resumed shortly. That's literally the admin told me. A minute after that, SpeCial comes in and says he's got a VPN on and now it seems okay. So as long as that's the case, we are going to go in-game. If not, we might be back on the break screen real soon as SpeCial and Cham get readied up in this one as TVZ continues. If you just joined us, you've missed a hell of a start of this series. 3 maps of absolute mayhem. SpeCial currently leads 2-1, and it's just been an absolute banger of a series thus far. It really has been.
Yeah, it's been super fun, extremely chaotic from the get-go, and I really hope that we can continue it here because I'm excited to see what they bust out in game number 4. Will we see more of the absolute madness that started things off, or will it settle down into a little bit more of standard play? I'm curious.
Yeah, honestly, no. I mean, anything could really kind of come out of this one. It's been fun. It's been exciting. SpeCial, we already it's interesting because we already sort of saw the first minute of what SpeCial and, wanted to do last game, which was another double gas opener. So, will he continue with that as we resume? I'm actually not going to resume from replay. We're just going to, start a new game. So, yeah, we'll see if he goes for the same idea as in the top right, though. The Blue Zerg, who is trailing in the series, it's Cham.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left. It is SpeCial. And he hasn't said anything yet, so hopefully that means that the ping is all good. Fingers crossed, don't want to jinx anything. Now, something we didn't get a chance to get into because obviously we went to a pause and all that jazz, everything got weird. If it does end up being that double gas again, which we've already seen now 2 games in a row, and we saw in the first version of this game, will Cham come out with something a little bit different to try and deal with that? That is something I'm quite curious about, to be honest, is does he have maybe a different way of dealing with this? For now, we're not going to see anything like a gas pool, which could have been very good if it did end up being the same build we saw in game number 2, where it's like, yeah, 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions, because, just having lane speed 10, 20, 30 seconds faster, which that's pretty much 20 seconds faster, can be really good against something like that.
No, it's very true as that Reaper not able to command continue up, the depot coming in. And we just wait to see what Cham will do, because you're right, there's definitely things that could be done that aren't as drastic as the roach attack in the last game, right? And really could just be like a good shutdown. It's just a question of, do you really think he'd do it again? A lot of this is maybe sometimes blindly kind of making a move when you don't know necessarily what it is. Obviously, we see that it's going to be the same. Cham is moving across the map with both of his overlords. He's about to realize it's pretty much the same as well. I really feel like one game, you could just go for like the Marines off this barracks and get a free overlord kill and play from there, though. Like, I feel like that would be a good switch up from SpeCial one game. Maybe if we go to a game 5 for now. Reaper continues to the upper right.
Yeah, I wonder if he looked at game number 2 and was like, I can do that again. Like he was like, I can get that crazy damage once again. That obviously, I don't think he will be able to. I think it's a little bit optimistic to think that maybe he can, but I mean, sometimes you just got to be confident in yourself. And SpeCial is a player that has no lack of confidence. He has a ton of confidence in his play and in his micro.
Yep. No, he absolutely does. He knows fine well. He's just, able to do things funkily. Yeah, I've kind of seen this before, right? The Liberator comes one way, the Reaper Hellion goes elsewhere. He did so well with it last time. I honestly don't hate that we're going to kind of see round 2. Softening up a Queen makes it a little bit less good if it ends up in range of a Liberator as well. So, kind of down for all of this right now.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I think we're already effectively 1 Liberator shot worth on that Queen, maybe even 2. Hellions and Reaper, or Hellion and Reapers are going to dive into natural. This time, it's a great defense from Cham. I don't think he lost. Yeah, he hasn't lost anything, just having to morph a couple of buildings. Very well done from Cham, and a really nice cleanup relative to what happened previously. And this time, it is going to be lane speed and a quick layer. This makes me wonder if we might be seeing 2 base Muta.
Yeah, that could be kind of fun, as we now lost a Reaper and a Hellion. We didn't quite finish off the Queen we're aiming for. I mean, this is feeling like more and more of a disaster here from SpeCial. So much invested, so far not much done. Momentarily started Burrow. I was about to start theorizing, but turns out we're not going to commit through into that
Yeah.
as the Reaper Hellion's still pushing a little bit at the front.
Yeah, and this first Liberator is going to pop out momentarily. This is about as close of a proxy as you can possibly get. The only difference would be if you put it literally next to the gas geyser. We are going to see this Liberator. Well, it'll find... Oh, wow, I really thought it was going to get the second shot. But just one drone. Not bad. There is this other Queen in the main. That is the heavily bruised up one. If SpeCial Siege is right on top of it, that is... Oh, will it get saved?
Oh.
No, it is going to go down.
Yeah, looking at the front, because the Reaper Hellion was poking again, so we are going to go minus a couple drones here, and a Queen, finally SpeCial, getting something out of what was the Reaper Hellion, kind of give up earlier. And you were right, man, that Spire is on the way down. Now, you know, what does SpeCial see? Well, he may not have seen the Spire yet. He also hasn't seen the lair yet, but he does know there's no third base, so it wouldn't be too far of a stretch to kind of imagine that that is the case already.
Yeah, and this time he is going to scout that Spire, seeing it with the Liberator. Good quick pull from Cham, but two-base Muta. It is a build that, I mean, there's a reason we don't really see it anymore, and that is because it is really difficult to get online with that setup and avoid taking a lot of damage early on from any kind of dedicated push. Even if you do get the Mutas out, they are difficult to utilize effectively. Now we are going to see another hit squad coming across the map from SpeCial, and oh, that is a nice little scan. Going to clean up pretty much all of the creep tumors. Actually, I think there's now 0 creep tumors on the map. Nope, there's 3. They're all in the main base. Wraparound will come on in on top of the Hellions. What you mentioned in the previous game, that is going to be very good with the Cyclones going to work. There's nothing on the map right now. Cham trying to scramble out Zerglings. This is looking so deadly already.
This is really, really bad. The Lings did not get a good enough wrap around. It was obvious from the start, and now you're just going to be seeing those couple of Hellions that are left, trying to pick up a whole bunch more kills. Every bit of damage done here really adds up. There's so many low HP drones. We do not finish off on any of them. Somehow, some way, SpeCial doesn't get as much done. He actually wasted a second or two where he didn't move forward with the units, and that might have been the difference of like 10 more workers. It seems extreme, but if you get a couple more shots off before the extra few Lings start arriving, everything else is so bruised up. A lot of these workers that are low would have taken a final shot. It really could have snowballed a little further. Obviously, the Mutas are out. This game is about to maybe be about Cham for a little while. The missile turrets are already coming up. We're talking about 4 Mutas in production. It really ain't impressive. 1-1's already on the way. We already have Stim and Cham. He got a third hatchery up, but man, he's playing Mutas against a complete anti-Muta army already.
Yeah, this is not looking good. And this is exactly what I was talking about, where two-base Muta feels like a really... feels like a flimsy composition sometimes, a flimsy setup. That's not to say it's not a valid build, but if it gets spotted as early as it did, it is no fun whatsoever. It is worth noting, by the way, that SpeCial has built the reactor for the starport outside of this base, so it is in a little bit of a weirdly exposed position, but I think the Marines are going to be able to keep that alive. Oh, Muta! Oh, even losing a single Muta. Ugh. Even a single Muta going down at this point is so expensive, because Cham is actually all-in completely off Ling Muta. He is going to try and get the jump on these units. Cyclones will come in. They will be able to help a lot, but that will be a decent cleanup for Cham. Can he get the medevacs?
Yeah, he's going to try. He gets one of them. Cyclones drop back down. They will die. More Marines from the right side. SpeCial just needs to try and realize, hey, look, you know, he's doing nothing. Like, he scans, but he doesn't scan deep enough to see the mineral line. That's such a mistake, because right now he could know there's nothing on the third, and if he knows that, there's no reason to be as aggressive as he's being. He will set up a bunker towards the third, an extra turret elsewhere as well in the main base. His Mutas want to basically try and pull him apart, and then let the Lings overwhelm a little bit. Right now, that's not happening. No, SpeCial gets a jump on the Zerglings in the center, and that's going to be a great cleanup. Hood of Mine will not fire, as the Mutas do try and go for that next turret. The one in the main base did die, or the main mineral line died, but the next turret in the main gets the job done.
Yeah, barely any Marines went down. I don't even know if a single, maybe 1 or 2 Marines died during that entire fight. SpeCial does get a little bit of supply block, but he's able to drop the depot top hat and continue to produce units. SpeCial can chill, but even him being aggressive right now, he is going to find 2 Mutas on the rally. Cham did drone up a couple, but he is still very much all in, and he is going to take so much damage. I think this is looking like we are pretty close to done and dusted right here.
Yeah, I think 1-1 being done for SpeCial is a big deal, because that really just means he trades so much better, and it's so much harder to be overwhelmed. This is going to go down, but it pulls everything back. It gives him time to settle back at home. It really stops Cham from just kind of overwhelming on the other side of the map. And I mean, Cham is droning, but for what reason almost? Because he's got no upgrades on the way. He's building Baneling speed. I think he's kind of droning up to a different all-in, essentially. Like, you know, maybe Bane speed and you just send it. But I'm not as, you know, any more hopeful about that than I was before now, as we lose, well, Mutas. That kind of died to the Widow Mine. I think he missplit the Muta and then split one into the Marines, and that was just an extra gift to SpeCial, basically, who really can just stop attacking for a moment and just let more advantages build up for himself.
Yeah, he doesn't really need to attack right this minute. I'm saying it's done and dusted, but that's only, you know, that's only if SpeCial makes sure to consolidate his lead in the right ways. And for example, if he gets to 2-2 versus 0-0, almost no fight that Cham can take where SpeCial is microing reasonably well will be winnable. But if he pushes into Baneling speed and takes some really big Baneling connections, maybe there's still a chance.
Yeah, pre-Baneling speed, though, maybe it's just about good enough. Maybe he is fine to be here. It's just scary because we've seen it before where there is sometimes, you know, you push in and it's just a little too little, and the Zerg really benefits from that. These Mutas all being bruised already helps massively because it just means they go down so much more easily. And the Widow Mine's really helping out as Cham is not going to be able to hold on. SpeCial plays probably the most convincing game of the series that we've seen so far, and it will be the one to round out this best of 5 SpeCial 3-1 over Cham. And